And we're live with another episode of Weekly Mojo here at the Playhouse
Ayo,
with your host, Madison Jessica.
that's me.
I'm going to interrupt real quick and say, please follow our channel, like, subscribe, comment, tell us how much we need to work on things. Thank you.
And we will be adding more platforms here soon so that we can reach audiences outside of YouTube Live, because I don't ever go here for content, and that's not a diss on anyone. It's just a matter of like, if it's not on Spotify, I won't find it.
Yeah. And if it's not on TikTok, I probably won't see it.
Right? So
Well,
shit, we'll get there eventually, but
I'm
for
gonna
those
get
that are in the know, we fucking appreciate you.
I'm gonna get a lot of time back if TikTok gets banned. And also, if Mr. Wonderful gets allowed to purchase it, I'm also positive that I'm gonna hate it again
Yeah.
and probably stop using it. But I don't know. People said Elon was gonna ruin Twitter. I mean,
He
it's
did.
certainly
He absolutely did. That's very true. Like in all intents and purposes, Twitter does not exist anymore, other than I just refuse to call it X.
Well, I don't call it X. I mean, like, I'm never
Right.
gonna call it X, and he's
Right.
trying to put his logo in the bottom corner now with XAI because it's not. Is it X? Is it XAI?
He fucking
Is it
doesn't.
Grok?
He's just throwing
Is it Twitter?
SEO. I just
know.
don't know.
I mean, and
he's
I get
finally-
it. I got a million names. I get it.
No, honey, you're sorry. That's what did it for Rue. She was done. She's like, I fucking hate Muskhole. Me too, babe.
Yeah, well, I'm not like a fan of his or anything. I like respect some of his shit, mostly around marketing though. He's kind of a good propaganda guy like Trump.
I'm like, you were basically just like, I don't know.
Kind of.
To be an incel's poster boy is something that is like, it's not.
An incel's poster boy is Andrew Tate.
Oh, sure, him
and that's
too.
Disgusting.
Absolutely. There's a lot
there
of.
There is a distinction between. Yes, it's a
that's a spectrum right there. That is like both ends of the spectrum.
Never go full Tate.
For sure. Cheers to that. God bless CB. Oh my goodness, CB radio.
It's all BS.
Do you hate that?
No, it's fine.
Finally, I found something that I can call you that you don't despise.
Yeah, just because I need more names.
Right. Well, to fit all the personalities, it feels fitting.
I'm trying to condense it down into two or one, try to stay as one person, but I'm very hyperbolic and like to bounce between perspectives.
Okay, so not to call you out, when we were in Chicago, and since we won't be going to Chicago currently, but my colleague, I think it came up that he goes like, "You're the professor," is what he said to me after we had a really good conversation with some docs. And I was like, "Oh, that's so funny. My partner goes by El Pro," and he goes, "Oh, that's what did he? Oh, that's kind of full of himself." And I was like, "Oh, well, is it? I don't know." And then I just kind of sat there for a minute, and then I was like, "Huh, I didn't ever see it as that." But you also just called me the professor, so now I'm like, I don't know where I'm sitting in this. It's just a matter of, we all love to share information. Oh, this is what I think I did say. I said one's for his one personality and one's for his other. Whether he's going to be logical or ranty, maybe. I think like El Pro versus Dr. Business. I can't.
Really, whether or not I'm going to be more business-minded or more empathetic-minded.
So logical is Dr. Business.
Logic applies to both.
Sure. Okay.
So you can't separate logic from either of them.
You're right.
That's foundational to commerce.
So El Pro provides empathy?
Yeah, he just generally comes from an empathetic place.
Inquisitive.
Yeah, inquisitive.
I think it's inquisitive.
Sure. But like the ultimate goal there is try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, see their perspective and understand their rationale, their logic, the emotional triggers and perspectives and experiences that are driving the logic behind their decision making that looks illogical to people from different backgrounds who don't have the experiences.
Or anyone, I guess. Yeah.
Anyone. Most people don't think like this.
Sure.
So that's El Prof.
Right. No, that's.
And then Dr. Business, also very analytical, very first principles thinking, reverse engineering business from the ground up. Always thinking about how the end user, the customer, the patient, can be maximally benefited for the smallest of cost, and working from a handful of ideas, more or less, because I'm very creative on both sides of these things. That's what makes a lot of this possible, I guess. And that probably comes from reading a lot and being inquisitive, like you're saying. But anyways, I just,
the duality
I work
of
from
your
those
hemispheres,
end products,
like.
and then I work back through all the business logic to first principles and see, are there key differentiators and value propositions and customer segments with money willing to pay? If I can connect those two dots in the full stream and the markets there, I do that constantly all the time. It's like breathing on some level. Now, I don't have the real numbers, but I read so much that I have a really good general sense of these things.
Fuck, I don't know if I sent you this video, but I was doom scrolling on Instagram, and this guy was like, middle America can't, it comes out as let's go Brendan, because the reality is we don't have the vocabulary to speak to the issues that we're currently getting bombarded by in rural man's no man land, where it's like your community really is how you stand as an individual, mostly because most people don't get out of there. I take that back only because of your conversation took me there, but I'm like, so wait, does it feel like El Prof and Dr. Business are like the dualities of your two brain hemispheres?
Yeah, that's those are the two hyperboles I shift to, and I think about it easiest because I love politics so much as my right-left divide.
As your skill set.
But I'm more of a libertarian and also an anarchist than I am a true, Democrat or Republican in that traditional sense.
What even those mean? Because that is shifted within the time.
Yeah, so I think horseshoe theory is two-dimensional. And so my concept, which we talked about 4 years ago.
That because I feel like horseshoe theory makes sense.
So horseshoe theory, if you've seen the quadrants, you've got Republicans up here to the right, which is probably over here for you guys, right? And then you've got Democrats over here to the left, which again, I don't know which. Yeah, it's weird when you do that. So you've got Republicans and Democrats, and then below Republicans is the Libertarians, and below Democrats are, I call them the anarchists, but it's like the Green Party. It's like super far liberal communism, socialism, kind of. Yeah. Anyways, you got.
So, I know. I got it pulled up. We're ready to go
now. That's not the quadrant I was looking for what it's worth, but that's.
I know you're looking for the graph.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Anyway, this is also the back of your
quadrants. Okay, so first I want you to see this because
there you go. That's what I was.
I'm like,
envisioning.
When did this get flipped? Oh, I hate the color scheme because it doesn't reflect the American political spectrum. Okay. The color scheme's super annoying where it is. Okay. This always throws me off because red is right and blue is left.
Yeah, that is weird.
So, fuck you, Windows, I'm assuming. Anyways. Right? Okay. So, this is what I tried to describe with my hands just a moment ago. So, you can laugh at that forever now. Here's what Maddie pulled up that is 100% horseshoe theory. I'm just going to go back to that and so you can just imagine this superimposed over top of this, right? And the idea here is that the bottom two quadrants are actually a lot closer than you realize, because even though we're talking about the economic perspective of governments as a divide, that authoritarian libertarian line, um, generally the lower you are on the line, the more libertarian you are, obviously, is what the line says, but it's also kind of technically the poorer you are. And the more authoritarian you are, uh, also kind of corresponds somewhat with being wealthy. Now, there's outliers in both segments that
Sure, no,
totally
that makes
break this
sense because
perspective, like in a crazy way. But
having a crazy amount of money, you're going to want to make sure that you can't have anyone else grabbing your money. So you're going to want all of the boundaries built around you, and you're the only one that's able to do it. It's crazy. It just brings me back to the parable of the sower.
right. So there's actually two horseshoe theories here, right? There's the horseshoe theory we have, which is the red-blue partisanship, which is the much smaller of the two horseshoes that we could be in, right? And that one's dictated by the wealthy, the elite, as people like to describe it, you know. But it's also just college educated people who happen to be more moderate and who happen to be more receptive to institutional vanguards and participating in existing systems rather than competing against them or building new systems, which is what the bottom two quadrants often represents, and the two variations of approaches to that. And
that's
often the time when you have more privilege and wealth, you're more likely to just go with the status quo. And so that's why that upper horseshoe theory prevails. Now, the other thing is, it's very important for that upper horseshoe to remind the lower horseshoe that they are actually broken in half and not a horseshoe. Because if they ever remember
a
that
divided house does not stand.
Yeah. Now,
and the population, if they realize that all of us were saying the exact same thing in different ways and came together as the community that we are and know that we are, they're fucking scared. That's why there's so much division and fear that's being propagated as a result of it.
Sure. And so horseshoe theory is the idea that you can actually close the gap because it is so close.
Okay.
And you can flip the horseshoe.
Interesting.
Right?
I'd love to see it.
And
we're on that 250th year of the nation being in existence, and
we're talking about Ray Dalio's cycle of nations.
Yeah, completely unrelated. Ray Dalio's theory of nations is basically no civilization lives beyond the 250-year mark. It gets remade in
modern
some way,
civilizations,
shape, or form.
Ancient civilizations broke that trend.
I wonder if our perception of time is just warped now because of that, though.
There's so many things that are
different factors. I can't even get into that. We haven't even talked about this bad bitch this week. Oh my god!
Yeah, we haven't had the real conspiracies this week. Truly. But the last thing I want to say is that 4 years ago, when we started doing all these projects, we had a different way to describe this as well.
Yeah.
That I like probably much more so still. And that's the idea that this is, again, a two-dimensional representation of what is a 3D discussion. And there's many more dimensions that you can actually break this grid into.
Sure.
And you can turn it into a sphere, arguably, right? And because you can turn it into a sphere, you can identify the fact that there is a rotten core in the middle, and then all of us on the outside. And if we remember that we all have a lot more in common than the core that's corrupt in the middle, we can crush the core and start again.
Pretty easily. Just like quick little done.
We're a lot more powerful than we like to think about.
It's true, and we all know where we stand as far as taking care of others, and we're just kind of sick of not having.
I also like to call it outflanking the middle.
It's that. It's like the governing bodies, I don't know what they're governing other than for their own money and maintaining authority.
Right, but it's not so explicit. It's not evil.
Sure.
It's everyone.
It's just corporations that don't have to take accountability. It's no one taking accountability.
It's a system.
What the fuck?
It's a system too large to be accountable. Right?
Party City CEO sent people over as a bounty and basically was like, sorry, I didn't pay any of my suppliers, and then also let go of 12,000 people 5 days before Christmas. Like, no, he absolutely can be held accountable and is like, I know he's a voice of a stakeholder, so he's another head to chop off. But I'm like, oh my God, in the wake of all of this conversation, how are we still getting patients denied for healthcare? How are we still seeing corruption as far as like market manipulation and food source
And I'll tell you,
shortages? It's because it's crumbling. We're on the last year. Go ahead and tell me.
absolutely. And it's not that we don't have government regulation bodies that are supposed to be managing and running this.
We have a friend. Hello, guitar professionals. Rock on. Great to see
Thank
you.
you for joining.
Cheers to 2025. Welcome to the shit show.
That's kind of question.
Yeah, getting back to.
Well, the thing
how
is,
everything is so corrupt.
We've set up all of these federal agencies over the last 100, 200 years, right? In the hopes and idea that they are going to regulate that industry and protect consumers and citizens from being abused by companies. The reality is, oh, nice. We love the Midwest. Also love Chicago.
Hell yeah. Oh, shit.
We drive through probably once or twice a month, but, you know, on I-80.
We'll be on our way soon.
I-80, I-94.
God bless. Hopefully you guys didn't get hit by too much of the snowstorm. KC got nailed.
Yeah. We go between KC and Detroit.
For sure.
So,
going back to all the systems are basically.
Yeah, so basically all these things that were like, why are these companies getting away with it? Well, there's government regulations and bodies that are in charge of managing those. But the reality is that executive bodies and powers have removed basically the ability,
accountability,
right? Because you can't vote.
Balances.
You can't vote these people in and out of agencies.
Much like the Supreme Court.
They're careerists, but it's worse than a corporation because a corporation's beholden by profit, which means they have to do something useful. Where government agencies just get a budget every year that's guaranteed to grow, and they have to do the same thing no matter what, even if there's a lot or a little demand for it, because they're inefficient institutions. And that's just like that's the Doge discussion that we don't need to go into because you don't like that one. But the reality is, at the same time, like these agencies are already charged with regulating these businesses, and they're not responding to the will of the people in any kind of capacity. And on top of it, when you look at the industry players and the government officials, they're just interchanging themselves every single industry this happens in. And so it's very clear that corporate lobbying has a huge influence on why these companies are able to persist. And it's also the fact that when you really dig into it, just a handful of companies really own all of these public companies.
Right. And
or have the governance control of them, because most consumers did the Warren Buffett thing and gave up control of their investment portfolio and delegated their voting shares to fucking Vanguard and BlackRock.
Oh my God, if you're buying ETFs of Bitcoin, please don't. Please go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase or find any way of getting, like, you're buying into the narrative that everything is the scam. I mean, the current stock market is upholded on 20% of the entire like group of publicly traded companies being profitable.
There's 500 companies held up on 11.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah.
But what? Only 20% of them are profitable when there's
the index
all
is
of
very
the
misrepresented.
publicly traded. Yeah, I'm like, Uber hasn't been profitable and won't be profitable until autonomous vehicles, and that's what they're literally holding out for. But I'm like,
it won't be profitable then either.
It's a software.
Right.
Airbnb, it's a software.
Yeah, I mean, well, also because Elon's going to beat him there with Tesla. The Tesla AI for that is already like top notch. Google's the only other competitor. Also,
maybe.
Just to answer the question,
check back in.
What the Doge shit is. Basically, there's obviously Dogecoin, which, not to pump it too hard, but, it's a classic. You can't really go wrong.
It's hard not to want to buy into that cute ass face of that Shiba Inu,
Look at the monthly.
And that's what we're buying into.
Absolutely. Look into the monthly, weekly charts, find a good, dollar cost average.
Never investing advice.
Yeah, no, not investing advice at all, but it's a savings account. So put like $5, $10 in a week and it's a meme coin. You might actually be really lucky.
Savings
Okay,
account,
but
just check it as
it's
like
not
you're gambling, but
that-
just like, you know.
That's only part of the answer. The other part of the answer is that Doge is the coin that Elon Musk adopted and then named the government agency that he's going to be representing under the Trump administration with Vivek Ramaswamy, where they're going to go through all these federal administrations and try to gut them.
Yeah. It's so crazy how that nomenclature worked out so perfectly.
Okay, nice.
I can't see. These are not visual glasses.
The guitarist professional is 57, but they have 3 kids who are our age, roughly. A little younger than us.
Very cool.
Glad you know a little. It's really great that you know any of it. I mean, because so many people know very little at all. Anything. A lot of people are just like, I heard the word. Anyways,
asking questions is the best way to like start the conversation in the community, but it's all about making sure that we're hedging our bets for ourselves and for our family.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, that is what Elon maybe is trying to go for, especially with his like AI WorldCoin Twitter app.
Saying yes to.
So basically, Freemason Elon is going to make everyone his slave.
Yeah, that checks out. He's Antichrist for sure. There's
probably.
There's a nice competition of Antichrist for sure. It's like Sam Altman's a part of that conversation. I would be remiss if I didn't say Taylor Swift, because I do agree in that.
Yeah, but the TLDR is, maybe that's his angle. I think right now he's just trying to show that he can gut the budget of the government. But like, I don't know what you do when you put a bunch of people out of work. So, but at the same time, they're going to promote
but ultimately, like, there's so many pencil pushers everywhere that it's like, how do you give people a skill set? It's like, how do you find your skill set? Those are probably the questions we should start to be asking as a population, because it's like, we can't just assume that we're going to be upheld by anyone at any point in time, government and or public or private. You know, you've got to be your own business, be your own boss.
Clone makes way more sense than like
clone. Yeah, that's sad though. Come on, that's so fucking like.
I thought it was her daughter, her secret daughter, and she just looked like her. I didn't hear the clone thing, but like,
Taylor Swift's a clone.
Yeah.
Oh, that checks out. Like, she's like Xena LaVey's clone.
That's it.
Oh, that's.
I was like, it makes way more sense than being her daughter.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So they just probably carried her to term or something and had the eggs implanted.
It's like that's exactly right. They have a whole system of maintaining celebrities, and that is what they do. That is fucking nuts.
We're gonna hop off the conspiracy train for a minute. Love it though. Support it.
We'll jump into another one here shortly with our bad bitch of the week, because Henrietta Lacks. Oh my God, she immortalized life. If you haven't delved into the book, which is what I was introduced to, which I can't believe, not till college in my biomaterials class. Thank you, Dr. Watson. I believe that was her name. God bless. I think she's still at UNL, so shout out there too. But Henrietta Lacks is a woman that, like many people of color, were mistreated by the healthcare system, and wow, holy shit, off the backs of the United Healthcare CEO situation, and all of the insurance claims for no good fucking reason. This poor woman we'll be getting into here shortly, but basically she had her cervical cancer cells harvested off of her body after she had passed, and those cells continued to, for the first time ever, were regenerating. And so all of these cells out of Johns Hopkins were basically now being able to be tested, and they could do so many more experiments with live cells, essentially. But all of this is knowing that this is cervical cancer cells that are the things that are continuing to regenerate. So she regifted a whole pharmaceutical industries like revolution off of her body and back, and her family has never seen any reimbursement as a result of it, to my understanding. There's a documentary out there that followed it. There's like so many things I'd love to get into. I fucking cannot wait. But the craziest shit is like, this is lab-grown meat.
Lab-grown meat uses
Is
her cells. Her
surgical
cancer cells
cancer
are lab-grown meat.
So
All the
anyone
fake
fucking
protein.
telling you that not eating an animal and observing and honoring the life that it sacrificed in that moment and thinking that lab-grown, thanks, keep checking up, thinking that lab-grown cells is better for you, just know that you're consuming cancer cells and that we live in a sick care system that is going to benefit off of you consuming cancer cells. In the same way that they've over-insulated a bunch of individuals using seed oils and overly processed sugars to combat the salt for preservatives, and then fed you weight reducing drugs that are then causing more malignant cancers in your body. And I've seen like an uptick in like 25-30% of patients within 4 years. Guys, I'm just like, can we stop jumping on every fad that pops up as the new, and just start seeing it as like, our bodies really are the temple. Yeah, that was basically what I was calling out without saying Ozempic specifically. But
okay, we'll leave it there.
Ozempic, Wegovy, all of the fucking like, take an injection and you'll have the best weight loss of your life. Just know that it's at the cost of your like internal organs, and all of the minerals are being stripped out of your body. Holy shit! Oh my goodness! All right, ChatGPT, and then yeah, we need to. What is our professional guitar friend saying?
It says, "Have we ever seen Jesse Wells do his thing?"
Okay.
I don't know who Jesse Wells is.
The name sounds kind of familiar, but now that's a recommendation. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this guy. He does good music.
Cool. Okay, shout out here.
Yeah, I like him.
He's got a lot of recent stuff too. Oh, he's in
I see him on TikTok.
Oh, that's dope.
That's where I see him.
Okay.
I didn't know him by name.
Rad. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Huge shout out. Oh, I can't wait.
I guess that's going into our recommendations of the week.
That's exactly right. I was like, I can't wait for our Bouge and Snob platforms to be up so that we can find these really cool artists and keep.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to launch the portal, because then we'll also have the ability to do these like episodes and like accompanying like show links.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we can link to whatever.
So the world's our oyster. It's just a matter of capitalizing.
I've built so much in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, well, you were up all night doing it, and that is not sustainable. So you'll figure out a balance, but you know, more power to you.
We're making it work today.
Alrighty. Thank you, Perplexity, once again, for just giving us
way better than ChatGPT. Yep. Fuck you, Sama. Yeah. I'm narrator, you're Henrietta, because gender roles.
Sounds good.
Let me tell you the story of Henrietta Lacks, a woman whose life and legacy have an immeasurable impact on science and medicine.
My name is Henrietta Lacks, born Loretta Pleasant on August 1st, 1920 in Roanoke, Virginia. After my mother Eliza passed away, my grandfather raised me on a tobacco farm in Clover, Virginia. I feel like there's a little southern coming out, and I'm like not trying to make it over. Keep going.
In 1941, Henrietta married David Lacks, and they moved their family to Turner Station, Maryland.
Shit, she was 21 when she got married. That's baby. I know they did it different, but
that's kind of old for them.
David and I had 5 children: Lawrence, Elise, David Jr., Deborah. Oh man, how do you get? Wait a minute, how you get David Jr. in the middle? That was the favorite for sure. Deborah, which I will be going to New Jersey. Oh, is it? No fucking way! I hate myself so much. I've been driving into the armpit of New Jersey and hanging out with some of the coolest crew I've been to in a minute. But it's Deborah Heart and Lung, and that is definitely how I read that. Sorry, Deborah. And Zachariah, and I got that one. I love dancing, cooking, playing cards, taking my children to Clover on the weekends. I think that was what I took away from the documentary I like watched on the airplane, was she was just so full of life, and she was like 39 when she died, or 36, like very, very, very young.
In January of 1951, so this is 31, right?
Yeah,
Henrietta
31.
discovered a lump in her cervix and went to Johns Hopkins for treatment.
The doctors diagnosed me with cervical cancer and began radiation therapy. What I didn't know was that they had taken samples of the tumor cells without my consent.
Those cells, labeled HeLa, after the first two letters of Henrietta's first and last name, would prove to be extraordinary.
My health deteriorated rapidly, and by August of wow, shit, she wasn't even 39 or 36. She was 31. By August 1951, I was back in the hospital, and the cancer had spread, and the treatments weren't working.
Tragically, on October 4th, 1951, Henrietta Lacks passed away at the young age of 31, leaving behind her husband and 5 children.
Could you imagine? Dude, what would you do if you had 5 children by yourself?
Right now, that'd be a lot. But
Having any would be a lot.
I don't know.
5?
Right. I mean, I guess it's always a lot.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
god.
like, I need a few more years in a
Oh.
way, especially for 5.
I don't think anyone prepares for any of those numbers, but like I don't think anyone prepares
just
for
trying
the
to prepare
tragic
for
loss
the
of their partner. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean,
all
there's
of
like
those
an
things.
emotional piece that we haven't
Holy
factored
shit.
in there. But anyways, there's a financial cost that was never received to the HeLa family.
And that was, but okay, so while that was the end of her life, that wasn't the end of her story. Unbeknownst to me and my family, my cells lived on.
Narrator, that's me. The HeLa cells taken from Henrietta's tumor were the first human cells to continuously grow and divide in a laboratory setting, becoming the first immortal human cell line.
My cells have been used in countless scientific breakthroughs. They helped develop polio vaccine, although polio was kind of on the mends as that vaccine came out, but that is a different story. We're sent into space, depending on how we define space, I suppose, and have been used for over 110,000 scientific publications that I 100% believe in. That is insane. And yet not one of those publications has ever credited that family and or just like seen any reimbursement. I can guarantee it. I kind of want to put like a anyway, keep going.
The HeLa cells have been instrumental in advancing our understanding of cancer, infectious disease, and many other areas of medical research.
Not just medical, but my family didn't know about any of these this for decades, and it wasn't until 1976, so that's what 25 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yeah?
Yeah, quarter century later.
Yeah, that they learned about the existence of my cells. Jesus Christ.
The story of Henrietta Lacks and her cells raised important questions about medical ethics, consent, and racial inequalities in healthcare.
And continuing to. Today, my legacy, Henrietta's legacy lives on. Scientists continue to use HeLa cells in their research, and my story has been told in the books and films. I can't wait until this next thing. I'm just going to tell yours. Henrietta Lacks's unwitting contribution to science has saved countless lives and continues to shape the future of medicine. Her story serves as a reminder of the importance of ethical practices in medical research and needs to recognize the individuals behind the scientific advancements. Absolutely. Included but not limited to, how are the HeLa cells being used in synthetic foods?
It sounds like they're derivative cell lines.
Okay, but even like that is.
Are those cells derived from the HeLa cells?
From food relevant animal species? I don't buy that. You're not taking stem cells from an animal to then spend 20 to 50x the amount of processing energy in a bioreactor.
It said they developed
the same meat.
Well, they could have used the HeLa cells to reverse engineer other species cells to become immortal in the same way.
Yeah, that's just gene manipulation. That
being said, HeLa HeLa cells are so prevalent that you could totally guess that some unsavory, unethical businesses might cheat and utilize them either by being a supplier and not telling their customers where they're getting the cells from and what the cells really are. Obviously, there's those labs for testing to check, but I assume on some level it could also have an error rate where some slips in.
The amount of bacterial contamination, listeria contamination. Yeah, thanks for checking in with our friend. The amount of different contaminations that we're seeing from like mass manufacturing just kind of makes me want to get back to the single source so quickly. I don't know. I don't trust. If it's not the single source, I don't trust it. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready for chickens when you are.
If you didn't grow it yourself, or you don't know the person who grew it.
Yeah, it's really hard to trust it.
Yeah.
Because like even
my whole family's in healthcare. Maddie's whole family's in healthcare.
Yeah.
So their mom was a nurse.
Oh, nice. Cheers. Thank you for her service. Holy shit, that is some of the most unacknowledged labor in all of healthcare. Let's be real. Like they're taking on the responsibility of the patients day in and day out, minute in, minute out, and like the amount of times my sister being a pediatric night nurse has had to basically set a fucking physician straight to say like, you don't know what you're walking into on these circumstances. Take a fucking breath. I'm just like, thank God there are people out there that see humans as humans in some of the most like horrible times that they'd have to be vulnerable
like
in
cardiology?
a hospital system. Like cardiology.
No. They have 2 ultrasound credentials.
Oh, very cool. So like
just
Echo Tech, yeah, okay, Echo Tech, or is
nice.
it ultrasound for like babies? Is it cardiology? Very, very cool. If they're looking for jobs in Chicago, let me know.
No, they're doctors.
Oh, that's rad as shit.
2 daughters are doctors, son electrical engineer.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Parent has 2 ultrasound.
Oh my God, you guys have to be so proud. That's so cool. What was it like having
Echo and vascular.
Okay, very nice. Oh, that's cool. Are they in the same hospital? That's fun.
Ooh, dentist.
Oh my God. Seriously though, like what a fucking proud ass family. What did you guys do? How was that raising all 4? Sounds like?
Yeah, pharmacist.
And it dentist. Sounds like you guys were both working
3 kids.
3 kids? Okay, cool. Jesus. That is, if you could give us any piece of advice, what would you give us as we're trying to enter into that world in some ways here soon? Because you can never prepare for any of it.
Engineer just got out of college or just finishing up.
If they're interested in healthcare, let me know. I play video games with cardiologists, but it's really just pre-procedural
Don't let your
planning.
Kids do sleepovers.
So true. Okay, cool. That checks out.
Wow.
Thanks.
It's the moms. Didn't think that.
Oh, fascinating. I mean, like it's
yeah, that also would be the worst. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dads. But yeah.
Sorry, you're
it's like I'm having a whole conversation
I know,
here. This is my literal job.
The highlights here.
Yeah. Complex family always, and at the same time, we're getting some advice. Well, I mean, I didn't think it was the parents. I didn't think it was conscious, to be honest. I thought they got taken, not, served up on a platter. But it also makes sense that it would be the adults around you that you seemingly would trust that would serve up other people's kids.
It's that, it's that exactly. They get so close to then use and abuse.
Okay, you're a drummer. All right, son's the drummer and you play guitar.
Oh, cool. A little family band. I love that. Do you play any shows in Chicago that we can come see?
Well, I'm guessing so. They also told us where we can stop off to say hello earlier in the conversation.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we'll definitely have to go to Chicago.
Yeah, we'll check out. That's awesome. Would love to.
I wanted an excuse to go into town.
It's
like, it's been too long.
If you're ever, yeah, we're not supposed to meet up with people on the internet, so we'll go to a public space.
I'm gonna watch your YouTube channel a lot before
We don't go to
decide
secondary
do this.
locations.
Yeah, we'll go to a bar if we like the music on your YouTube channel. I'm guessing it's gonna be solid.
Oh, I'm really excited about it. I'm just like thinking of all of my favorite murder. Like
we will definitely sub for sure, no matter what.
Jesus Christ.
And leave a comment to show some love because we appreciate this conversation today.
For
To be
sure.
honest, this
Yeah,
is the most
been
engaged
nice.
person
Really,
we've
truly.
ever
It's
had.
so
doing
funny.
this.
You had a call out, and here we are talking to Chi-Town native. Hell yeah. If you're ever in KC, also we've got some friends that are musically inclined, and it would just be fun to do like a little jam session from the Midwest or the Heartland.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not musically inclined in the slightest,
No,
but I
we have
love
friends that
music.
are.
No, we really gotta clarify that.
To
we are music consumers and enjoyers.
For sure. I will belt it out in the shower, in the car, and that's about it. But I just enjoy everyone else enjoying the music, and I'll bop along.
Absolutely, and I love being surrounded by musicians. So let's go.
Yeah. Well, shit. I mean, we got to get back to life at some point, but would love to see if there's any other things that Guitar Profesh would like to check out with before we head out.
Oh, nice. You know where Winona, Minnesota is?
Yeah. Also, isn't that, well, it's not, no, Winona Ryder's from like California, but I'm like, why?
Yeah, we are.
My family's from Minnesota, which is small town everything, small town America. Oh, yeah, we drive through here.
She is from there. She was from Winona.
Who?
Winona Ryder.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that checks out, actually. Oh, nice.
It's like I wonder if that's her stage name and she just chose her town.
We go through it on our way up to seeing my family in Minnesota when we're driving from Michigan. That's how I know of it. That's so crazy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Either Winona or
Indiana. Okay.
Cool.
Anyways, we're gonna check out your channel and subscribe and leave a comment.
Yeah.
But we're actually gonna wrap up our show for today. This was one of our most fun episodes. We told our story. We covered the bad bitch of the week. Again, got to get a close up of this canvas that Maddie painted. The NFT will be available later this week, collectible on the website.
She's our golden ticket. Yeah,
we
it was
will
a
follow
pleasure.
up for sure. Oh no way! So do we. We, in terms of buying that in Michigan,
Gavin,
we definitely do that.
Gavin, it was a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, we are married. We got married.
Nice to meet you, Gavin. Yeah.
So, cheers to meeting new friends over the internet, which we were always told not to do, but you know.
Friendly people are friendly people.
Engaging in conversation.
We know we're all building. Exactly, we're building communities. Best of luck to you building your channel.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna like and subscribe for more.
Cheers to you and the family in the new year. We'll catch up with you guys next week.
And with that, that's another episode of Weekly Mojo. With your host, Madison Jessica. Like, subscribe, follow for more. We'll be back next week.
Cheers.